fight, advocates understanding from Trade Union Congress on its ill-advised moves. Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 advises Nigerians to adhere to safety protocols. Schools resume for exit classes after 4 months of closure. Thank you so much for joining us. The reported plan by the Trade Union Congress to embark on a nationwide protest over the alleged President Buhari's inaction over the high level of corruption uncovered at the Niger Delta Development Agency, the Niger Social Insurance Trust Fund, and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, is ill-advised and totally uncalled for, considering that there are ongoing investigations in the cases by both the executive and legislative arms of government. In a statement in Abuja, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, says these processes must be allowed to run their full courses. The presidency maintains that it is against the norm in a democratic society as well as the natural laws of justice to seek action, meaning punishment against offenders before proper investigation, trial and conviction. The president has made it clear that the allegations that have surfaced clearly constitute a breach of trust, and as the investigations take hold and close out, all those found wanting will face the wrath of the law. Now, to reopening of schools, the Minister of State Education has announced that all the 104 Unity colleges are ready to open their gates to exit classes on the 4th of August 2020. Announcing the preparedness of the Unity colleges at a meeting with commissioners for education of the 36 states of the Federation via Zoom platform, the minister lauded principals of Unity colleges for comprehensive preparation put in place for resumption. The commissioners had reported varying stages of preparations and readiness for reopening between the 4th and 10th of August 2020 for virtually all schools within their jurisdiction. A statement from the Office of the Minister's Director says the Minister of State for Education, Permanent Secretary and Directors will embark on an assessment tour of all Unity colleges to ascertain and confirm the reports submitted by principals of Unity colleges. Similarly, Federal Education Quality Assurance Directors deployed to the states have been directed to monitor compliance in their respective states. As commissioners from states were also enjoined to embark on assessment tours in their jurisdiction to ascertain the level of compliance with stipulated guidelines. While most schools will reopen tomorrow, others will continue to fine-tune their preparations in the coming days for reopening. All returning schools are to undergo temperature checks, among other protocols, before being admitted into their schools. Still on reopening, Monday the 4th of August is an epic date in the 2020 calendar as it marks the reopening of schools for specific students in Lagos. Ingeno John Adams, who monitored the first day of resumption, reports that the sensitization has been on ground.
Fortune Gift is among thousands of students in Rivers State waiting for the school gates to open to enable them sit for their exit examination.
I'm 100% ready for the school resumption. I'll be reading so I can pass my junior WAEC.
Only last week, the state government distributed
The long default holiday is over for SS3 and Tech 3 students in Lagos. However, the COVID-19 pandemic has changed the modus operandi of schools. Temperature checks, hand washing, use of face masks among other safety protocols for the prevention of coronavirus are being employed.
We are back, we are alive. After many months, we've been at home, studying alone.
They said if you don't wear face masks, you don't enter. Now everybody came with their face masks.
Preparatory classes for the West Africa Senior School Certificate Examination are back, and only a handful of students occupy each classroom in compliance with the social and physical distancing guideline. A team from the Lagos State government is on ground to ensure total compliance.
We cannot risk them catching this dreaded COVID disease. We are trying to ensure that we reduce the risk to the barest minimum.
In a few weeks, the examinations will begin. The students are optimistic that they will excel because they were adequately engaged through e-learning during the protracted lockdown. In Lagos, Hengino John Adams, NTA News.
We apologize for the mix-up at the beginning of that report. Still on school resumption, school authorities in Rivers State are currently embarking on clean-up exercise in response to the directive of the state government to make the environment safe for commencement of academic activities. This is just as students in the exit classes are poised to return to school to complete the academic cycle. Kingsley Amajiri reports.
Fortune gift is among thousands of students in Rivers State waiting for the school gates to open to enable them sit for their exit examination.
I'm 100% ready for the school resumption. I'll be reading so I can pass my junior WAEC.
Only last week, the state government distributed health and other non-pharmaceutical kits to school principals to enable them clean up the environment preparatory to the school resumption. When NTA News visited some of the schools, our crew caught up with the State Commissioner for Education, Professor Kaniye Ebeku, monitoring the cleanup exercise.
The attitude of the government of this state is that we shouldn't get our students back to the schools except the environment is welcoming, except the environment is conducive. And that's precisely what we're doing.
Barring any unforeseen circumstances and with the schools expected to clean up their environment this week, there are strong indications that schools in Rivers State would be reopening next week. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
Now, after careful assessment of COVID-19 situation put at lowest level of infection, Jigawa State Government has directed entire civil servants to resume work from Tuesday this week. This is coming as Governor Badar Abubakar approved the reopening of schools in phases. Awal Mohammed Kazari has details.
The resumption of the state civil servants followed the 16 days without any reported case of COVID-19, and there is no single patient on admission in all the isolation centers in the state. Governor Muhammad Badaru Abubakar says the State Ministry of Health will provide face masks, hand sanitizers and washing hand points at all government offices to avoid the resurgence of the virus.
We will monitor the behavior of all civil servants and will act swiftly on any person violating the COVID-19 control protocols. The strategy in Jigawa State is to start gradual and scale up school reopening over coming weeks. In conformity with the above strategy and in line with the federal government guidelines on school reopening, we will open between 3 to 5 schools in each senatorial zone.
On school reopening, the governor says 40 schools will be. In the first phase, there will be 10 each for primary, junior secondary, senior secondary and private schools. The governor appreciated traditional religious leaders and people of the state for adhering to COVID-19 protocols during the just concluded Salah activities. From Duse, Awal Muhammad.
And from education, let's now talk aviation. Authorities at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos have heightened COVID-19 preventive measures to further guarantee safety. Michael Olaleye reports that passengers are fully adjusted to the new protocol.
The Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos might not be able to reach its 7.3 million passengers traffic recorded last year. But the optimism among air travelers is the return of flight operations even in the face of the dreaded coronavirus. It is 1 month since man must fly amidst the coronavirus pandemic, and not in the widest imagination of Phillips Onowu will he have thought that a time will come when face masks and hand sanitizers will be a prerequisite for traveling, just like the airfare tickets and passports. He, however, commended the measures put in place to contain the virus.
This is the first time I'm flying since after the lockdown, and I thought I was going to come in and see a lot of stress, but it's just straightforward. Just wash your hands, they take your temperature, and then you're going.
Unlike when the airport was newly reopened for flight operations, authorities have now included fumigation of luggages.
Everything look very nice, look very new, look super. And I'm just coming from US, and I think it's comparable to the local.
Although data released by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control indicates a 3-day consecutive decline of COVID-19 cases in Nigeria, but the need for more sensitization was stressed by travelers.
Some people think the government is joking, but the truth is the virus is out there, and it's together thing we won't stop preaching. That's COVID, stay safe, wash your hands, sanitize, we won't stop.
As the world seeks for a cure for coronavirus, the commencement of domestic flight operations remains the litmus test that will invariably determine the modalities for the restart of international flights. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NTA News.
Let's talk security now. Security agencies in Kaduna State have confirmed that, contrary to misleading information in both conventional and social media, the Kaduna-Abuja highway is safe for transit and no passengers were recently kidnapped on the highway as the media alleged. Mohammed Umar Ajinge reports that the Command Operation Thunderstrike and Kaduna State Commissioner of Police visited the exact location of the alleged abduction, from where they debunked the misleading reports.
These are the officers and men of Operation Thunderstrike and the Nigerian Police Force on fact-finding and pacification mission on the Kaduna-Abuja highway, where it was alleged that gunmen have abducted undisclosed number of passengers. According to the security operatives, thorough surveillance on the highway by their personnel and information coming from the locals and some passengers flying the road tell a different story, as no single passenger was abducted on this highway for quite some time now.
There was nothing of such that happened here. Here we are now is after Keteri, that is in between Maru and Abapafil village. As you can see from Kaduna, you will see some vehicle, breakdown vehicle on the road with passengers inside. You can see, and there's nobody with them. It shows that the road is very, very safe for people to move.
Reporters alleged that the bandits kidnapped unspecified number of passengers or citizens on this route. And according to them, about 5 vehicles were seen without passengers. Now, from all our checks, it has revealed the contrary. Nothing of sort happened on this road.
On the contrary, they say the security agencies are recording gains against the kidnappers, and the highway has been safe for more than a year now. The security agencies therefore urge the media to always cross-check their facts to guide against publishing such false and malicious story that could trigger fears in the minds of passengers and create bad picture against security personnel that are committed to the safety of lives and property of the people. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umar Ajingi, NTA News.
You're watching the news on NTA International, reaching you live from Abuja. Let's take a breather now. More reports ahead. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with NTA International. Now to COVID-19, the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 says increasing global statistics requires vigilance, adherence to protocols and determination to take personal responsibility. Chairman of the PTF on COVID-19, who is also the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, gave the advice after a while ago. On resumption of schools, PTF employs education stakeholders to ensure that agreed protocols are put in place and strictly adhered to for exit classes resumption. It urges politicians and their supporters to remain mindful of the virulent nature of COVID-19 during electioneering campaigns.
To assure our citizens that we are continuing to increase and optimize laboratory diagnostic capacity, most recently in Zamfara, Kebbi, Yobe, Taraba, Gombe, and Bayelsa states.
Still talking COVID-19, new 90 minutes test to detect coronavirus and flu to be rolled out in London home care and laboratories as the World Health Organization announces finishing laying the groundwork for a probe into the origins of COVID-19. Uche Uguchukwu is here with these and more on global COVID-19 updates.
World Health Organization says it has finished laying the groundwork for a probe into the origin of COVID-19. The World Health Agency maintains that 2 experts have completed a scoping mission in China, marking the initial phase of an investigation aimed at identifying how humans were infected with coronavirus. Meanwhile, head of the WHO says there is a possibility that a silver bullet answer to defeating the virus might never happen. Director General Tedros Ghebreyesus says at a virtual press conference that there is no simple solution to the complicated problem at the moment, and there might never be. From London comes a report that a new 90-minute test that can detect coronavirus and flu will be rolled out in care homes and laboratories from next week. The on-the-spot swab and DNA test will help distinguish between COVID-19 and other seasonal illnesses. From the U.S., one of President Trump's top medical advisors warns that the U.S. is entering a new phase in its fight against the coronavirus, as it now affects both rural and urban areas. A tally by Johns Hopkins University has it that 158,376 patients have died from the 4,815,895 infections confirmed in America. The Worldometer coronavirus dashboard shows that Africa now has 963,222 positive cases of COVID-19. In Nigeria, the Center for Disease Control reported 304 new cases of COVID-19, being the lowest number of cases in 2 months in 15 states, including the Federal Capital Territory. Lagos and the FCT remain top on the ladder. The new cases bring the total confirmed infection in Nigeria to 43,841 and 20,308 recoveries have been made. Now, the world records 18,305,616 confirmed coronavirus infections as of 6 p.m. Nigeria time. 694,060 persons have unfortunately died from the infection. That's it from here. I am Uche Ugochukwu.
Thank you so much, Uche, for the updates. Away from COVID-19, the Nigeria's Governors Forum has expressed solidarity with the government and people of Borno State following last Wednesday's attack by gunmen suspected to be members of the Boko Haram sect. In a statement by the forum's chairman and governor of Ekiti State, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, NGF says it remains strongly behind Borno State and its people over the senseless attack and sympathizes with the injured. The forum appealed for coordinated operations to rid the country of all forms of unlawful armed attacks and promised to meet with the federal government to review the present security architecture. And out to sports, stakeholders have been reacting to the Nigeria sports industry policy recently presented